This is your lesson. It's a review lesson on finding slope from a graph. This will be what you will be quizzed on Wednesday. So first of all, I'm going to go through some most important points. When you're given a graph and a line on that graph, you want to make sure to pick two good points, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you visibly in just a minute. But these are points where the line goes through a corner on the grid. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. The next thing is, it's always your best bet to start at the left point, the furthest left point, and either rise up, which makes a positive numerator, or rise down, which makes a negative numerator. Then you'll go to the right to get to the second point. Then lastly, I want you to leave your answer in the form of a fraction in simplest form. Do not try to put this into a mixed number, and do not try to change this to a decimal, because when you go back to graph these, you're going to want to see the rise over run. So that is part of our lesson today, is when you are going to find slope from a graph, you want to make sure that you do rise over run. This goes back to the lesson last week, which were the change in your y's over the change in your x's. Okay, so let's take a minute and look at some examples, and I hope that you can see these. I have a blue line, a purple line, and a green line. So I'm going to try to find the slope of the blue line first. Okay, now I want to make sure and pick two good points. Now let's look at this point right here. Everybody look at that point. Do you see how the line does not go through the corner? We want it to go through the corner of the grid, so that would not be a good point. Okay, next I want to continue to look up and down. This one would be a good point. This one would be a good point. This one would be a good point. You see I've got several along the line. So it doesn't matter which two I use or which ones I go to. They don't have to be close together. They can be far apart, because when you simplify them, it should not matter. So first of all, you're going to put your pencil on the furthest left point, and I'm going to go to this point right here first. So I'm going to start here. Now, one other key thing is you don't start counting until you move. I have seen students make this mistake before. They'll say 1, 2, 3. Be very careful. You want to start right here, and we're going up to get on the same level as that point. We're going up 1, 2. So my numerator is positive 2. And then that puts us right here. Now we've got to go to the right. 1, 2, 3. I'll put a 5 there, excuse me. Up 2 over 3. Now, let's go back and let's erase this, and let's say that we picked, and we're going to go this point to this point. All right, you start here. Don't start counting until you move. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that time I went 4 in the rise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I went 6 in the run. But you can see that 4 6 is not completely simplified. If I simplify it, I get 2/3. So that's what my slope is for the blue line. Okay, we'll try to erase the blue line without erasing too much of the others. Now I want to do the green line. Now, visibly, I want you to notice that this line is going downhill. That's going to make it a negative slope. One other big mistake that students make is they get the numbers correct, but they forget on a negative slope to put the negative. So once again, we're going to go looking for good points that go through the corner of the graph. Okay. Might have been not quite a good one. Let's look at that one. Okay, maybe that one. Okay, so this time I'm starting at the furthest left point. Now I'm going down. So I'm going to go in and put a negative right here because I'm going in a negative direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I went -5. Then I'm going to go right 1, 2, 3. So -5/3 is my slope on the green line. Okay, now we want to do the slope with a purple line. And I'm going to go through here and I'm going to try to find some good points. That's a good one. That looks like another good one. Okay, I'm going to start at the furthest left point. Again, this is a line going down. I think before in some of your math classes, if you can make an N out of it, it's negative. Okay, that was another good visual you were probably taught last year or in previous years. So I'm going to go in and put my negative there so I don't forget it. So now I'm going to start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. -4. Now I'm going to start running to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm looking at that. And I'm thinking that can be reduced to -1/2. And if I go back and look, down 1/2, that was a pretty good point. Down 1/2, down 1/2. So it looks like there were several points in there that I missed, but it does not matter because once I simplify my slope, it's going to be the same regardless of your points on the line that you pick, as long as they're good points through the corners of the grid. Okay, so on Monday you will have review work for this. Don't forget, little quiz on Wednesday.